Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 28, another 7 curious interesting things I saw last week. So let's crack on. First one is the MSG Sphere in Las Vegas, and yes, this is real. It is a giant venue. It has 580,000 square feet of LED panels on the outside of it, and this was the first time it was sort of fired up this week. It also has a load on the inside, i.e. it is a viable venue. So this is actually real. It's causing quite a lot of stir on the internet, and this is really interesting. In a lot of these feature out of home displays or these panels, they do end up being on social media, so you don't actually have to be there anymore to see these billboards around the world, because they will, just like I'm showing you now, they're so stunning they will appear on social media and other places as well. So what will happen to these, who knows, but there's some really good examples already. Really like that. This is how to look inside a microchip. Fascinated by this. There are lots of ways of doing it, very expensive ways of doing it, and there's lots of companies that will help you do this as well. So this is to reverse engineer microchips. So maybe your competitor has got something, maybe that's why you're doing it. Now sometimes you can use a laser to skim the top off microchips and reveal the innards, and lots of other things, chemical processes as well. But this one uses a very simple technique. So you use a microscope that has a camera in it, you remove the infrared filter from the camera, and you use a special infrared LED. And when you shine that LED with the absence of other light on top of your chip, you can actually start to see the structure inside the chip, i.e. with the microscope, so you can see very small. So that's quite interesting. So you can actually start to see how it's put together. Really like that. That LED costs $10. Now, that's assuming you got the rest of the kit. That's quite a cheap way of doing that. So I really like that. Quite sneaky. And well done to Hack, and also to Andrew Huang for doing that. That's very interesting. Midjourney. So you might have used Midjourney on Discord, for instance, to generate images, or at least you might have seen it. So it's got some features, like DALL-E has got some features as well that can do what's called outpainting. So if you generate an image, you can ask it to do, by the way, this might give you motion sickness, so look away now. But what you can do is you can ask it to give you what's at the boundaries of your image, and it will generate around the outside. So what's happening here is it's using, it's got two new things. One is called Zoom Out, which is what you're seeing, and another one is actually called Pan. So what it'll actually do is it will allow you to pan left and right and generate what's there. So you can create huge generated sort of panoramas, really. But what's going on here is actually a bit special. So not only is it being told what to do to generate the stuff around the outside, it's also being, it's using ChatGPT to create a sort of a sequence of images that's then being put into Adobe After Effects to create this really amazing zoom. So these used to take ages and weeks to do, and now you can actually do them in probably an hour. So there you go. So it's quite interesting. I'm going to go off this slide now because it's making me slightly nauseous. YouTube auto quizzes. There's almost nothing to be seen on this one yet, but they have an experiments page, and YouTube have posted this. So this is obviously from July the 6th. Now they said they're going to do auto-generated quizzes only on mobile and only from educational content. And what that kind of means is, this is all there is at the moment. It sounds very interesting. Is they will probably have a look at what's in the video using AI, quote unquote, and then generate probably plausible, let's say multiple choice quizzes. Who knows? But you'll be watching a video, and then on mobile it'll probably come up with a quiz, and the video will be at the bottom, and you can go and research it and all that sort of stuff. I really like that way that's going. So actually using AI for positive uses as well. So watch out for those. It's a worldwide test at the moment, so you might not see it, and it's only on mobile as well, so iOS and Android, obviously. And there you go. YouTube. Meta has launched Threads. Now this is me doing a screen recording of it. Now I must say it took me about 15 screen recordings to actually get something that didn't have something that was dodgy in it, either sexual content or just offensive stuff in it. So not a great start, I must say. So it did take a long time for me to record that. So this is just me scrolling through it. Also, so basically it's a Twitter clone if you haven't seen it. It does have a huge amount of sign-ups, but I did hear a really interesting analogy, which is, yeah, don't take that initial sign-ups for too much, because it's a bit like people crowding around your burning building. Yes, you do have a lot of footfall all of a sudden, but it's not for the right reasons. It's a lot of people just trying to see what's going on. So yeah, so there's not a huge amount of engagement going on, quite a lot of low-level content. Haven't seen anything on there as huge. There's some brands on there, people like McLaren, when I was looking like yesterday for F1, for instance, they've jumped on there. You know, Aston Martin, for instance, so we're looking for that. It's already using your Instagram friends, should we say, to drag over as well. Now, there is a slightly kind of quirky thing that if you do sign up for Threads and you want to delete your Threads, then essentially you have to delete your account, which also deletes your Instagram account by all accounts. So that's not an interest. Well, it is interesting, but something I didn't actually expect. There you go. So Threads, if you're not signed up to it, then go and sign up to it, but it's basically Twitter, and we all know the reason why Twitter might be useful right now, because Twitter is going weird. There you go. This is a new type of display. Now, where this will get used, I'm not really sure, but it's a proof of concept at the moment, and it's using hydraulics and little bits of flappy, let's say, rubber. It is 1,000 times more energy efficient than a normal display that uses LEDs, but not really sure about the sort of the paper displays you would use in a Kindle, for instance, which are already very low power. However, the way this works is you have some flappy bits of rubber, and you can cause them to go one way or the other due to the hydraulic pressure that you put through in this liquid. And now there's some issues with this. You go, well, why would you do that? You go, well, energy efficiency, and also it can just, it'll just be cool. However, if you do it horizontally, then it works. If you put it vertically, it doesn't work because the liquids don't do their thing. But then it turns out if you make them really, really small, then liquids don't really sort of subscribe to the whole gravity thing as much. If you look at raindrops falling down a window, if you make those spray, you can turn the panel upside down and the raindrops won't do anything. So there you go. So it's a weird flappy hydraulic disc displays, and it doesn't have to work with squares as well. They've got these really interesting kind of flower shapes that they can use as well. Now, where this will go, who knows, but that's kind of interesting. And finally, the Crap Games competition. So this is for ZX Spectrum games. If you don't know what a ZX Spectrum is, then shame on you, but one of the pioneering computers of the 1980s, should we say. Obviously not the better one, because the better one was a BBC Micro. Comments down below if you disagree, obviously, but it was true. So this is a yearly competition. There's sort of examples that happen all the way through the year, but some of the best ones this year, I really like the fishing simulator, as you can see in the bottom left, and I really like Cocaine Bear, which is apparently based on a true story about a bear taking a drug dealer's stash and then going a bit nuts in the park. And you've also got sort of mowing simulators and that sort of thing, but I just really like this. There's some really interesting plays on. I think there's a text-only flight simulator, for instance, so you have to sort of type stuff in, which I really like. Just a bit of fun. We're going to have a look at those. They are very interesting. There you go. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully it was interesting. If it was, give it a like, and I will see you next week.